What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video. And today, Granblue Fantasy Versus. So this video is to kind of get people into the game day one. The game drops this week in Japan, right? And we also have a release date in America. So if you're waiting for the American release, you can use this too. If you're waiting for the EU release, you can use this too. And it's just 5 things I feel like you definitely need to know to start playing the game day one quickly. That didn't roll off the tongue that well, but that's what this video is. So before we hop into it, I want to shout out Spooky and Exceed for letting me use this footage. It's from Frosty Faustings. I remember mentioning before that there was a tournament that I got to participate in. This is actually me playing right here. But they couldn't stream it due to small equipment issues, but the footage is there. I have the link to the whole tournament in Spooky's channel in my description, and I'm just going to have it playing in the background while I talk about stuff. Maybe I'll point out stuff as the video goes along, whatever. So, that being said, who is this video for? So, one, if you haven't played Granblue Fantasy Versus, but you've been playing fighting games and you're interested, this video is for you. And two, if you are a Granblue Versus, Granblue Fantasy player, and this is your first fighting game, this video is definitely for you. The first thing I want to talk about actually is going to be about Numpad Notation. So, what is that? Numpad Notation is what we use to talk about moves, movements, combos, whatever. It's basically how we talk about the moves specifically. So, Numpad Notation is like our equivalent to Smash's like D tilt, F tilt, instead of saying forward tilt all the time, right? So, the buttons will make sense. So, Granblue Fantasy has A, B, C, D, which is the unique action button, and then special moves and the block button. Okay, but the numpad part is what we use for the direction. So instead of saying like down A, forward A, back A, we use numbers. And the easy way to understand this is by looking at your numpad on your keyboard. And if you don't have a keyboard because you're watching this on your cell phone, your boy has a very big brain and has a picture of a numpad for you. So here it is. So, take a look at this numpad. 2 is down, 6 is forward, 4 is back, 5 is neutral, 8 is up, etc, etc, etc. 1 would be blocking low, right? We speak as if we're always on player 1 side. That just makes it easier for everybody. After using this for a couple of days, it should get pretty easy for you. And one thing that's nice about this game is that it doesn't have like long combo strings. So if you've never played a fighting game before, like if you only played Granblue Fantasy and not a fighting game, for example, then you don't have to memorize especially long combo strings with this. Like maybe like Guilty Gear or Dragon Ball or something. So that's kind of nice. Why do we use Numpad Notation? The main reason, of course, is that, besides we've been using it forever, is that it helps international scenes talk to each other in case people don't speak the same languages. We can still share combos and stuff like that, because everyone understands that 6 is forward, 4 is back, etc. Makes life easier for everybody. Cool. So the next thing I want to talk about is the button layout. So if you are a pad player, then you're pretty much taken care of, and you can use the default layout in the game if you want. The main thing I would say is definitely do not unbind your special move and block button. I'll talk about it more later though. Now, if you play hitbox or stick, you might be a little screwed, or you might be confused, because this is another fighting game that is made for console. So there's no Granblue Fantasy Versus arcade release similar to Dragon Ball. So normally, like let's say at SF4, when SF4 dropped, that game came from arcade to consoles. So if you played arcade stick or hitbox or something, hitbox wasn't even around anyway. There was a layout for you. You knew what to do, right? But now it's the reverse. So this game has a default layout for pad, but there's no layout for sticks. I will share mine and what I also see a couple of people do. So here we go. Here we go. This is my lovely, lovely stick. So I use A, B, C, D, special move, block. So A, B, C, D, special move, block. Like this. You can also do A, B, C, D, special move, block. Some people are very fond of this. I highly recommend putting the block button somewhere easy to press, personally, and that's really it. Whatever you're comfortable with, but Most people like having the ABC on top. I'm just used to doing A, B, C, D like that. That's just what I'm used to. Whatever works. Okay. Next, this is for Granblue Fantasy players. Close versus far normal. So another thing about this game is that you have what we refer to as proximity normal. So your standing moves work differently depending on how far away you are. So again, this doesn't refer to crouching moves at all, just standing moves. But for example, you have your close 5A and your far 5A. So in Catalina's case, her far 5A is like a little slash with her sword, but her close 5A, she kind of jabs you with the hilt of her sword. They're different moves with different properties. The close moves, they basically help you set up for your target combo. They kind of chain into themselves. Your far moves are like your pokes. So once you get used to the ranges, you'll see why you want to press the buttons differently at different spaces like that. But you'll definitely want to get adjusted to, one, where do far normals start activating versus close normals, and two, like, what is your go-to poke in these ranges, what is your go-to button in these ranges. It varies by character, of course, but that's like a kind of fun thing about exploring your character. Generally, your close A's are going to be your plus on block, pressure buttons. Your far A's are going to be like kind of quick little whiff punish buttons. Your far B's are medium speed, medium recovery, big pokes, right? You don't usually get combos off them. Your far C's are big moves, usually for a lot of recovery. Your close B and far B, or your close B and close C are usually kind of similar-ish. Usually, for most characters, one of them is kind of an anti-air move, and another one is kind of like you can use it as a poke-ish, or at least like a medium speed big button. It kind of depends on character, what you use these moves for. So next, I want to talk about the special move versus easy inputs, right? So this is pretty important in this game. So in this game, this is kind of more for fighting game players, I guess. So I assume this is like the actual RPG on the phone. So you have cooldowns on your special moves, but generally when you use the special move input, so like let's say quarter circle forward, like 2, 3, 6, right? There's not really a cooldown on your moves unless you do an EX move. If you use an EX move, then you can't use the move for a certain amount of seconds. Like the Charlotta here did EX flip. So now that box is filling up really slow. She just can't use the move until it fills up again. But you can also choose to use the special move with an easy input, right? All these special moves have a direction plus the special move button, and you could do it with an easier input. If you use that input though, even with the normal versions of special moves, you'll get the cooldown. So you might be like, okay, why do you want to use the special move button then? It kind of depends by character, but there are actually some pretty interesting applications to this. So the easy one actually, funny enough, is Charlotta, right? So Charlotta's actually a charge character. So you have to be like walking back or like holding down back to do her DP, I believe. She has a couple of charge inputs. Her Blanca Ball is a charge input, I believe also. Now, if you use a special move input though, she doesn't have to charge at all. She could just do the move. So sometimes you can make it so that the opponent, like a good player, right? If they know you're a charge character, they'll also be able to recognize when you're not charging. But because you could do the special moves without charging with the special move button, then you can kind of surprise people. You can like run forward and do Blanca Ball and like catch people off guard. Another example would actually be with Catalina. So people haven't talked about this yet. So one thing about Catalina, and if you haven't played Street Fighter, so like me, I'm not a heavy Street Fighter player. I'm more of like anime Arxis player. One thing that's always been hard for me in Street Fighter is actually DP anti-air, because I'm used to waiting for extra air options, because anime characters can fly, they're magical, they're powerful. Street Fighter characters are human, they just jump at you. Okay. Because of the special move button though, I don't have to do the whole DP input. I could just do forward plus special move and I'll DP them out of the air, making it much, much, much easier for me to do DP anti-airs. There's a lot of little applications for the special move button like this. I encourage you all to explore it when the game comes out. Just because it's an easy input, do not be discouraged from using it, because there are legitimate strategical uses strategic. We're making up words today. For these moves, cool. So again, quick review. If to wrap that up, special moves, if you input them normally, not really cooldown on them. There's of course a couple of little exceptions on that. EX moves always cooldown. Easy input special moves always cooldown, but you can do things that you can't normally do if you use the whole input. Last is going to be the block button. A lot of people talk about this. A lot of people are kind of confused on how this works. I'm going to be saying my last understanding of the block button, because to be fair, I assumed that the block button would work the same at Frosty. I didn't actually sit and confirm, hey, the block button works the same. So the block button blocks cross-ups automatically for you. You can't move while you're holding it though. So you have movement options while you're holding it, but you can't move normally. You have sidestep and roll. Roll is forward, sidestep is back, I believe. You still have to block high-low properly. You can tech throws while doing it, but it should always be a late throw tech. So the block button, of course, will make certain things like blocking Lancelot, cross-up stuff a little bit easier. He does have stuff where you have to block low properly, though. Like he goes behind you and block low, but you'd have to just block low during that time. But you can't like move, you can't like jump. You just like are locked there. If they throw you, even if you tech it, they're still gonna have frame advantage. So it's kind of important to apply it properly, like pick how you use it properly. Now again, my knowledge of the block button is based off the Evo build, not this build, but it should be the same. And that's like one of the first things I'm going to check when the game drops. A lot of people feel like odd about it blocking cross subs for you, but I think it's fine. There's still like a lot of high-low mix-up and like poke throw mix-up, pretty standard stuff. And you can also, now I don't know how much of a thing this is going to be, but because you can't move, you can use it for a little trickery like that. Like if you think they're going to use the block button, you could do some tricky stuff to keep them in place. But again, I need to confirm that these things all work, so I have to wait until the game drops later this week. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, whatever. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.